Metroidvania is a very popular gaming genre, and its popularity has seen a significant resurgence, especially within the indie game development scene over the last decade or so. So today, we've made a list of new upcoming Metroidvania games coming out in 2025 and beyond. Labyrinth is an upcoming and intriguing action-adventure game that serves as a bold reimagining of the iconic Pac-Man franchise. It takes the core concepts of the maze and eating and twists them into a darker, more mature experience. Play as Cobra, the space pirate, in an action platformer, along with Lady Armoroid, your loyal partner, and equipped with your iconic Psycho Gun. You must solve a mystery that could threaten the entire universe. Aeterna Lucis is a Metroidvania that combines fast-paced combat, a large interconnected map, secret hunting, optional challenges, and a rich and deep story. unravel the dark history of the Bloodstained universe and explore a hauntingly immersive 16th century England steeped in a 2.5D Gothic atmosphere, enthralling players in strategic battles, crafting and exploration across a sprawling, cursed land.
And exterminate the creatures that dwell within. The Demon Lord himself will fall by our hand. This mission will test the limits of your courage. You will face horrors beyond your darkest imaginings. Beasts that defy reason. Creatures born of pure darkness. Thousand Blossom! Die on top!
With me! Cross!
Reaper! Tonight, we start our mission!
Hollow Knight: Silksong is an upcoming highly anticipated sequel to the award-winning action-adventure. Explore, fight, and survive as you ascend to the peak of a land ruled by Silk and Song.
The Elusives are tiny creatures that live in our homes, hiding from us and borrowing whatever they need. To the Elusives, humans are giants, slow and clumsy beings, but also dangerous threats that must be avoided. The Raiders are the most daring Elusives, always seeking adventure and treasure. They're quick and stealthy, using guard cloaks to keep them hidden and invisible to the eyes of humans and predators. Elusive is an adventure and exploration game with Metroidvania elements. The protagonist, Zoe, is a brave raider seeking adventure in the giant world of humans. Along your journey, you will meet other adventurous characters and merchants with whom you can build friendships. In Elusive, you'll explore every nook and cranny of an old haunted house, uncovering pathways and tunnels within the walls that will lead you to hidden treasures. Elusive combines exploration with resource and treasure gathering, crafting, and quests in a giant house interconnected by tunnels.
Mio: Memories in Orbit is an exciting, upcoming Metroidvania game with a strong emphasis on exploration, combat, and a compelling narrative. Uncover its secrets, enhance Mio's abilities, and save the spaceship and its residents from oblivion.
Livelier than ever. Yet its blooms hide deeper, darker roots. A hunger that cannot ever be satiated. then there's you again. The little sapling who wished to save the sun. Will you give back what you have been gifted?
It began with the ancient
Blighted
rituals.
is an upcoming 3D Metroidvania action RPG set in a psychedelic western nightmare. The game plunges players into a world corrupted by the Blight, where a lone survivor must reclaim stolen memories.
Knowledge to future generations. Until Sorcisto, in his lust for power, consumed the brains of the living, spreading this blight. You harbor it too, I see. Pray the vultures consume you before the blight does.
Eden's Guardian is a challenging Metroidvania experience with handmade pixel art set in a world with medieval and fantasy aesthetics devastated by conflict, where the history of gods and humans intertwine. Shade Protocol is a 2D cyber fantasy Metroidvania where precision combat, fluid mobility, and an intricate narrative collide, set in a dying world overtaken by Elysium, a sentient metal that has turned against the world. Trizna is a classic plot-driven 2.5D Metroidvania filled with intense battles utilizing the unique features of weapons, evasions, parries, and counterattacks. Explore the mysterious and eerie realm deeply intertwined with pagan beliefs, with blade, magic, and a keen mind. SOULGRAVE is a character-driven action roguelike where you create wild builds, explore ever-changing dungeons, and battle brutal bosses with puzzle-like telegraphed mechanics. Constance is an eagerly anticipated 2D hand-drawn action-adventure game that blends Metroidvania elements with a deeply personal and metaphorical narrative. Volunteer is a combat and exploration-driven 2D animated Metroidvania. Find fated bonds to help you on your journey as you fight and free beasts and gods alike.
We work in harmony.
I will break them.
Take this!
Let's do the thing. Great work. Now let's get to making.
See the truth, unlock your strengths, and learn what your fated bonds have in store for you. Together, you will unveil the secrets of the past, face the gods, and decide the fate of Ra'ua.
You shall have no mercy from me.
All becomes ash. You are all beneath me. Maelstrom strike!
The balance of our world rests on your shoulders.
This is no mere adventure.
Crowsworn is a highly anticipated 2D action-adventure Metroidvania game, a blend of inspirations particularly from Hollow Knight, Bloodborne, and Devil May Cry. Grime II is the highly anticipated sequel to the critically acclaimed Grime, and it is indeed a 2.5D action-adventure Metroidvania game. Nocturnal 2 is an action platformer game where your goal is to awaken a city trapped in slumber by lighting its mechanisms and spreading fire throughout its quarters. Tales of Fate is a 2D action platformer game with Metroidvania elements in a handcrafted pixel art world filled with Souls-like boss fights, dungeon platforming, and dynamic enemy combat design. Forgotlings is a breathtaking cinematic action-adventure set in a magical land of sentient forgotten objects.
On psychology from a vacuum cleaner, or you can play a board game against a chess piece, or you bond with a bucket. What game do you control a posing doll with his face on the stomach?
How can I help?
Best of luck, Figure.
So as Fig, you'll come across a vast cast of Forgotlings.
I feel like the characters are very alive in this world, like all the characters are very unique.
Every Forgotling has a story.
Some of their stories might be funny, some might be tragic.
And some are just a little bit of both.
It is interesting characters that are fun to hear how they progress with the story. Fantastic voice acting as well.
Hopefully it can bring a smile on your face.
I apologize.
Clockwork Ambrosia is a steampunk fusion of Metroidvania and weapon-building 2D shooter. Players pull on the boots on an airship pilot to combat an army of deadly robots and monsters. Locket is an upcoming 2D action platformer adventure game that stands out with its unique graphic novel, aesthetic, and a compelling supernatural Western setting.
We just follow the path. Before trouble found us.
Savior is an action-adventure platformer. Explore an open world that desperately needs your help. Acquire skills, gear and allies to aid you in your quest. Discover the secret origins of the broken society around you as well as yourself.
Faith is our salvation.
Some defiant few resist from the shadows, but time has come for a champion to rise up and reunite this shattered world.
Doubt is disease. It must be expelled.
At Fate's End is an action-adventure game where you fight the ones you love and your skill tree is your family tree. Explore a lush fantasy world, defeat the foul creatures of the realm, and face your estranged siblings in intense, emotional duels to decide your family's fate. Nevergrave is a Metroidvania x-roguelite, where you journey with the aid of a cursed hat, identify enemy attacks, fight with magic, and sometimes use the terrain to win. Mariachi Legends is a brutal, pixel art, combat-oriented Metroidvania set in the heart of Mexico. You play as Pablo Cruz, a detective who has agreed to a deal with death herself. Fatal Claw is a Metroidvania game in vibrant 2D artwork. Explore the arcane underworld your way with Keisha. Your ultimate goal is to find the key to the surface world alongside other survivors, while vanquishing infected enemies and absorbing their power. Mysplaced is an enchanting action-adventure game where exploration, puzzles, and combat come together in a beautifully crafted 3D world. Dive into a realm filled with secrets, challenges, and a compelling story waiting to be uncovered. Nyana is an upcoming story-rich Metroidvania game set in an oppressive yet beautifully hand-drawn world.